Okay, well, in this video, I want to talk about the first Scout Handbook, or the books that started the whole scouting movement. I have some displays here, and I just want to show you today. So my first display here is kind of a big display case, but it has this tiny little book here, and it's called Aids to Scouting. This is the book that started it all. Baden-Powell was in the military, in the British military, and he had written this book called Aids to Scouting. And this book became really popular with the youth over in Great Britain. And as he was retiring from the military, uh, he he became kind of a hero from the war, and so he wanted to do something for the young boys because they weren't very prepared when it comes to being in the British Army. And so he wanted to do something, some kind of program for the boys. And this is the book that kind of started because the boys over in Great Britain wanted to buy this book, and they wanted to see about scouting and their hero, Baden-Powell. So Baden-Powell, scouting didn't just happen out of nowhere. There was lots of youth movements at that time, and one of those youth movements was here in the United States, and that was being started by Ernest Thompson Seton. And he had written this book. This is one of my favorite books I have. It's called The Birch Bark Roll of the Woodcraft Indians. And this is in 1906. Ernest Thompson Seton went over to Great Britain, and he actually met with Baden-Powell, and he gave him a copy of this book. Baden-Powell took some of the information out of this book, which was from America, and Seton was a Canadian, I think. But anyway, he took some of that information and the Aids to Scouting book, and he created this book called Scouting for Boys. And this was created in 1907. This was derived from six pamphlets that he created called Scouting for Boys. And those 6 pamphlets were put together and made into a book. And here's an example in 1908. This is my Scouting for Boys book, and this is a paper cover. It's not a hardback, and this is one of the first books that I got when I started collecting, and it's just great to have this complete edition. This is a 1908 version. I love that. And in 1910, when the Boy Scouts of America was started, they created their handbook, and it was the exact same handbook cover. We had the exact same boy standing on a rock, and instead of a British flag, he's got an American flag. And this one says The Boy Scouts of America by Ernest Thompson Seton and Lieutenant General Sir Robert Baden-Powell. And that's another one of my most favorite books I have. This is called the original. It's not the first edition. This is called the original. And it really had a lot of British stuff in it. It had a lot of stuff from Seton in it. And eventually the BSA would create their own handbook, a little bit different, and it was going to be called the first edition. And so those are some of my first books that I love to display at scouting events, and I have them in these 3D type display cases, and they're pretty important books in my collection. So that's a little bit about some of the books I have. The other book that I really just got recently to add to my collection, it's another one of these same books, like the original handbook. This is an original handbook, but this one is by Ernest Thompson Seton only. He's removed Baden-Powell, and he's put his position. He was the chief scout for the first 5 years of the BSA. So this is a really great copy of this one I just recently got. and love that. I'll probably put that in a display just like my other one. Anyway, so that's a little bit about the original handbooks of the Boy Scouts of America. So thanks for listening. We'll talk to you next time.